Hey guys, welcome back to my channel.
So today I'm doing a video that I was tagged in by Katie over at the Book Wanderer, and it's called Behind the Booktube. And this is a tag that Katie created to sort of show how different booktubers make videos, because she was getting a lot of questions on how she makes videos, and she wanted to answer those questions without saying basically this is the way it should be done. And so she had created this tag to show how a lot of different people make booktube videos, which I think is genius because I love seeing sort of like the behind the camera aspect of this, you know, thing we do, and this is a great way to do it, so I'm hoping that a lot of people participate. I've been dragging my feet and getting this done, but now I'm going to make the video. So the first question that she asked is, what camera do you use to film your videos? So originally I used a Sony PowerShot to film my videos, and I used that for probably a year and a half. And then I got the camera that I use now, which is the Canon G7X. And the reason I ended up going with getting a new camera in the first place is because I wanted something more portable to be able to like vlog a little bit more, because the Sony PowerShot is really heavy and bulky and looks really funny when you vlog with it. So I heard someone talking about this camera, I did a little research, and I decided to go with it, and I've been very happy with it. It is definitely better at depth of field, and it's got its quirks though, because there are definitely things that I am getting used to with this one. It's also a point and shoot camera, so it's really versatile, and I use it outside of filming YouTube videos for sure. The next question is, do you use lighting, tripod, other sort of things to make your videos? Yes, I do. I have two soft boxes. One of them is directly behind the camera, and the other one is off to my right. And I use the one that's directly behind the camera to bounce the light off of the ceiling. That's the one that you can typically see in my glasses, because no matter how hard I try, I cannot get it to both bounce light off the ceiling and not be in my glasses. And it drives me crazy. So if any of you guys have tips about that, that would be super helpful for me. The other one over here is sort of like my fill light, because without that it's very dark over here. They are expensive soft boxes, but the reason that I have them is because I also have photography as a hobby and something I do a little bit for work. I have used these for work to take pictures for some promotional stuff we did for one of our shows, and so they are things that I use outside of YouTube, and I will link them below, but they are kind of pricey. They were a Christmas gift about 4, maybe 5 years ago, something like that. I can't remember. But I love them. They're really great for lighting. I do use a tripod. It's a Quantaray, and I have had this one and another one like it for years. I used them just for photography. I think I got them in college when I was minoring in studio art photography. And then I use them throughout fashion blogging. They're really portable and easy to sort of like adjust, which is what I really like about them. I'm pretty sure they came from Amazon, and they're not expensive tripods at all. One of the things that I don't use that I probably will use in the future is an external microphone. I use the internal mic from the camera. I used it on the PowerShot, and I use it on the Canon, and I find that it works pretty well, but working in the television industry and using external mics versus using the sort of natural sound from a camera, I can tell the difference, and I would like to get an external microphone because I think it makes a big difference in the quality of sound, but I just haven't decided on one yet, and I think when I do, I'll probably get like a shotgun mic that I can set in front of me versus a lav, or there's a lot of other different kinds of mics, but I probably will go with a shotgun mic when I do get it, but we'll see. So are your videos scripted, or do you just sit down and spontaneously do them? So very rarely do I actually script a video. I script, and not even really script, I give myself a rough outline for my review videos, and I've done rough outlines for some other videos, but for the most part, I prefer to just sit down in front of the camera and go. I actually really hate doing like massive work ahead of time, which is why when I think of these like great projects, like I have a really good one in mind that's tea related, but it requires me to do a lot of work ahead of time. And so it hasn't really got off the ground, and I know that's terrible, but I've been like that in my life, basically. I am not the kind of person that likes to pre-plan. Like when I wrote my thesis, I didn't do an outline because I hate outlines. So I'm definitely not the kind of person that scripts videos. I just sit down and go with it and see where it takes me. So when you film, how many takes do you do? Rarely do I sit down and it's just one take and I'm done. That is incredibly rare for me, and I don't like do entire videos over. Like I don't do multiple takes in that sense. Usually it's that I flub something and so then I start over at that part and then I edit it together. So I've never really had to do like a take of a certain thing more than like 4 times. I think past that I'd get frustrated and just say it differently or move on from that entirely. But you know, it really depends on what it is. Some things hang me up really bad, like Cassandra Clare. For some reason I cannot say her name. Every time I say it, I say something really weird, but except that time I got it right. So if you use music, where do you get your music? The only time I ever actually use music is over the back plate on the end of mine, or occasionally like if I'm doing, like with the wedding vlog, I put it over a bunch of clips and sort of melded them together. All of that music comes from the iMovie like music library because it's all basically free and you don't have to worry about any sort of copyright stuff. But I've used a song last Christmas. I think I used a song that I got somewhere else, but I don't remember where I got it from. I just know it was public domain, whatever it was. But yeah, I usually use from the not iTunes, the iMovie library because it's just convenient. How do you make your thumbnails? So I do this differently than I did before, but this is sort of interchangeable because I may go back to doing it this way because it looked better. So originally I would get my Nikon D80 and I'd swap it out for my video camera and I would take a couple of pictures using like a little remote like this, and I would just take those back to my computer and edit those. The downside with this is that the D80 does not have a flip out screen, so you can't always tell if you're in focus, and I would have to do sort of the thing that I used to do when I was fashion blogging, which is sort of focus it on a point and make sure that I stepped into that frame, which I've gotten better at, and especially in a small space like this, it's a little easier. But now I just use my Canon G7X and I move it over to auto, and then I set the timer to 10 seconds and then I push the photo button and take it that way. And it's a lot easier. It doesn't require me to try to focus on something that's not there because I don't really have to move and I can focus from this side. And it has autofocus. So that's how I take the pictures. So once I take the pictures, I then take them onto my computer and I import them. I pick out the one that I want to use and I bring it into Photoshop, and I also open up a file that I have called thumbnail size, which is the right dimensions for YouTube thumbnails. And I will then sort of resize it and get it in there, make it look the way I want it, you know, center it up, whatever. And then I take and make a circle with one of the circle tools, the shape tool, and then I'll add the text inside of that and position that where I want it, and then I'll go in and make the circle kind of transparent so that you can see the background through it, and then I'll add strokes to the text and the circle to make it stand out a little more. And that's basically what I do to those. It seems a little involved, I'm sure, but I like the way that it looks. And then I just export them. Like, I will resize it to make it smaller because it doesn't really need to be as big as the file that I start with. And then I'll just export it for web and devices so that the file's small on my computer and doesn't take up much room. But yeah, I like to make them pretty, I guess. So what do you use to edit your videos? So I use iMovie. It's what came on my iMac. It's free and I'm cheap, so I went with that. I have worked with Final Cut and with Adobe Premiere Pro, and if I were going to buy a program, I would probably go with Adobe Premiere Pro just because I like the way that it functions more, and it doesn't, you don't have to render it to see it, so I like that aspect of that. But that being said, I'm not planning on getting an editing, you know, program anytime soon, because iMovie does everything I really need it to do, with two exceptions. One, I find the text function kind of clunky and hard to sort of position the way you want it to. That annoys me. And I wish that you could layer more videos or music, like have multiple tracks, whereas so with Final Cut or with Adobe Premiere Pro, you can layer a lot of things on top of each other. For instance, you could put two videos next to each other. You can't do that in iMovie, and that frustrates me a little bit, but not enough for me to spend the money to buy the program, so I will probably be sticking with iMovie. Any tips or tricks that you want to share? So one thing that has helped me a lot is something I actually learned in photography, and so I have this little bag, and it's got a carabiner because I take it with me when I go to shoot photography, and it has this little thing that pops out like those pop-out frisbees, and it's a white card. So this is, the gray side's what you use photography, but this is what you would use for videos, and it just helps you white balance the camera. And with my Canon, it has a function where you can white balance once and save it as a preset, and so I don't have to do this every time because it saves this is white with my lights and my setting and everything. With the Sony, it didn't have that, and so I would use this every time, and I would just hold it up and cover the screen, and then I would white balance. This helps tremendously to make sure that your colors are consistent, and to me it just makes it look better and like a more high quality video. And the last one is, in my opinion, what makes a good video. So I think that there are a lot of ways to make really good YouTube videos, and I think that a couple of things are consistent with what people think make high quality videos. One, your sound obviously needs to be high quality, because if you can't understand what you're saying, or it's muffled, or there's a lot of background noise, then it's hard to get your content across. And second, lighting for me has always been something I look for, because when, you know, a video is really dark and you're trying to show a book or you're trying to show something, it's hard to see, and I feel like when you're well lit, it just looks more professional, just looks better in my opinion. One of the things that I see a lot of people do, especially people who are new to YouTube, is layering music underneath the entire video. And that's fine if that's what you want to do, but my advice to anybody who wants to do that is, when you're editing and you think it sounds good, bring it down another notch. Because a lot of times what sounds good to you, you put it up on YouTube and it is so overpowering. I cannot tell you how many videos I clicked off of because I just couldn't deal with the music competing with what the person was saying. And obviously, with all of these things said, content is king. If you don't have good content, then it doesn't matter how professional your videos look. It doesn't matter, you know, if you have the greatest lighting, the best sound, the best equipment. If you don't have good content, then nobody's gonna watch. And that's something that I think is great about YouTube, is that people can have whatever equipment that they have. They can, you know, use a webcam, they can, you know, use natural light or a lamp or a TV to light their videos, but they have good content so people watch. So I think that's something that's very important to remember when you're thinking about, oh, this person has such great equipment, oh, their videos look so good. If your content is there, the viewers are going to be there, and that over everything is the most important thing when it comes to making a channel and being part of a community. So I hope that you guys enjoyed learning a little bit about what is behind the camera, including the clutter, but I have really enjoyed doing this, and I can't wait to see what other people have behind their camera. So yeah, if you guys want to do the behind the Booktube tag, I'd love to watch it, and I hope you guys are having a wonderful day, and I will see you next time. Bye!